Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive boulderer from Canada, currently living near Toronto. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I'll record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So today we are at Joe Rockhead's. Joe's is a very famous gym in Canada. It is, I'm pretty sure it's the first climbing gym in Canada. I could be wrong about that. It might just be in Ontario, but it's been around for a long time. They were sort of one of the first gyms in Canada to sort of pioneer the comp wall and like the three different comp circuits. So we're going to be doing a comp simulation for this session of training on their comp wall, and they've got like three circuits. I think right now they've got the yellow circuit, which is the easiest, the purple, which is the medium, and then the pink tape circuit, which is the hardest. So they have 4 of each of them. So it's actually really great. It's like, this is exactly why I wanted to go do a comp simulation at Joe's. I just go to the gym and they've got their hardest circuit with 4 comp style boulders that I can just do a 5 on 5 off on. And I've been doing this is like sort of the first gym where I started doing mock comps or comp simulations. And I started doing this when I was like young. I'd always go like take the train from my home in Burlington to Joe's, about like 4 to 5 minutes away, and do like a comp simulation here. So this is where I sort of grew up doing comp simulations since like 2015 or something, I think is when I started doing them here. So yeah, today's session is our day 2 of training. We had like a day off yesterday from the videos, and then now we're back. So this is the day after our double session at Climbers Rock. And that session I was feeling like not super good. The jet lag this time around for this travel has actually been hitting us quite hard this time around. Like, normally I can deal with jet lag pretty decently, and it only takes me 1 training day of like feeling super garbage, and then even by day 2 I should be feeling like pretty back to normal. But that was not the case today. It's just like a little bit worse this time around for some reason. My body's just not recovering as fast as it normally does, and I was feeling like quite bad today. It wasn't the best, and honestly I should have sort of accounted for this a bit better and not scheduled like a comp simulation for today. I should have like waited until I had a rest day and then waited to schedule one for my next 2-day chunk, because comps, especially when we're doing comp simulations like right before an event, we're really trying to not only like get our tactical like just practice our tactics and get like all these tactics nice and fresh in our mind, and like get all of our comp pathways in our brain firing, and know how to practice our routine and know what we need to do in our 5 on 5 off rounds, because it's easy to forget these things sometimes and you really need to practice them. Like, that's definitely like a big reason why we do mock comps and comp simulations, but it's also just to kind of boost confidence a bit as well. So like, I will intentionally do like sort of easier comp simulations like at a gym where I know that the boulders are usually at a level that where I'm going to be doing like pretty well in the boulders, and this can be sort of like a confidence boosting comp simulation. Or I might do like boulders at a gym where I know they're going to be really hard, and it's sort of like a really to try my absolute maximum difficulty comp simulation. So at Joe's, I'm like used to the grades here, and I know like kind of how hard the pink tapes feel, and I know that usually like I'll do them, like let's say I do a comp simulation, I don't know, maybe I have like a 75% chance that I'll top with these pinks. That's sort of like the stat with how hard these boulders are here. And so the comp simulation today was sort of planned to be like a confidence booster comp sim. And I was like not feeling super good in the warm up, and when I just like was like climbing a bit around today, and I knew that, oh man, that like it's not in your best interest to go do like a confidence booster comp simulation when you're feeling like garbage. So I was a bit sketched if I should have programmed it in today, and it ended up being okay. Like, the boulders were like my style, and they suited me. Like, the first 3 boulders were like pretty physical, and I was able to do them all within like a couple tries, and it ended up being like kind of a confidence booster. But actually, when we got to the slab here, I was definitely feeling like my instability and just like I was feeling a bit shaky. It was funny, actually. Maddie's like off camera, like wanting to get on the wall to the side of me, so I'm like sort of like, oh, okay, I gotta hurry up and just send this boulder to get out of her way so she can climb, because my tripod's got like the walls here are kind of like the comp wall is sort of facing like opposite to the slab, and so I like set my, like, it wasn't too busy, so I set my tripod up here so I could just film the slab. I was like, because the first 3 boulders went pretty quickly. I was sort of hoping that the slab would go quickly too, so I could just set the tripod up and then get out of the way and then get out of Maddie's way. But actually, I was sort of not focused enough to do the slab. Like I was just like thinking that I was going to be, oh yeah, I can just flash it and get out of Maddie's way. It'll be chill, and then I'll move the tripod and then like blah blah blah. But it was a good reminder. Like this is why we do comp simulations like right before a competition. It was a good reminder that, especially for the slab, you have to have ultimate focus. Like you can't just be like distracted or half-assed thinking about what you're doing. And so what just happened there was I ended up moving the tripod so that Maddie could climb on the comp wall. And I actually didn't film my last try of the comp sim. I had another slip like around this area where I was slipping. And I actually didn't do this boulder in 5 minutes, which was actually a bit frustrating. So this is I just like set the camera off. Okay, the comp simulation is over. And so I went, and this is like I had an attempt just after the comp simulation. That's like part of this session is that I'm allowed to try the boulders for up to 45 minutes after the round is over. And so I was able to do it right after with like a little bit extra break and more focus. And yeah, that was just a good reminder that I shouldn't like, be like distracted when I'm trying a slab and just seeing like, oh yes, yeah, Maddie. I was like kind of joking around like, oh, don't worry, I'll flash this and then get out of your way. And then I was like sort of super out of the zone, and it was a good reminder to not be out of the zone, especially when you're trying slab. And that's why I really like doing comp sims. Like some people actually don't like doing comp simulations right before an event because it can actually go the opposite way. Like I was talking about how this could be a confidence boost for me sometimes if I do comp sims and they go really well for me. Some people actually don't like to do them right before an event because it can psych them out if they have like bad rounds. So I actually don't feel like that, because I feel like if I have a bad round, it just sort of, one, it can motivate me to sort of like even get redemption from my bad mock comps during the actual comp that's coming up like on the weekend or something. But it can also just remind me of like a bunch of mistakes. Like if I make mistakes in a comp simulation, like I just did here at Joe's, I'm like super unfocused on that slab and it resulted in a no top. It'll just remind me on what I need to work on and what I really need to focus on at the event coming up, which in this case is nationals. So when we are turning around to do slab climbs, I'm going to be extra focused and not just write them off as flashes. And so anyway, here we are at Climbers Rock. And if you remember, I mentioned a few episodes ago, I'm just going to be kind of playing around with what an episode is. So this session here at Climbers Rock is actually the day. So I had a rest day after the Joe's day. That was day 2 on. So that I had the Joe's comp simulation, and then I went and did a workout later in that day. Then I had a rest day. And then now here we are for session 1 of day 1 at Climbers Rock. And this is just like a normal boulder session. And going into today, I was hoping to feel a bit better, especially because we've had a rest day. And usually, like, every now and then, okay, sure, day 2, even after just day 1, will still feel bad if we're talking about like coming off a jet lag and whatnot. But usually after rest day is when I should be feeling like normal. And then it should just be getting better and better. And I definitely felt a bit better today, but it was not quite what I was hoping for still. I'm still like sort of at a bit of a deficit from what I expected in terms of just like how I'm feeling, like especially when we're like coming up to a target event. I'm very hypercritical about my shape and just the little nuances and how my body's feeling. And so I won't just write sessions off as like, okay, yeah, that was pretty good, or like I felt fine today or whatever. I tend to be like super like hypercritical, and today it just wasn't. It was definitely better than the past couple days of training. But it was just not quite what I'm looking for, like especially since the past week and a half, like climbing in Germany, was just feeling like so good. Like I just felt unstoppable, and this is like not is not at all what I was feeling in these past few days training here. But like it's not freaking me out too much, because I know that we're just trying to get off the jet lag. It's just being a bit slower than usual. So it's lucky that we're here. We came back to Canada early to get on the time zone and like just deal with this. And we still have like a few days of training before nationals. So yeah, I'm not too worried. What's interesting is also actually that these gyms sort of in the Toronto area, like, CR, Joe's, and then we're going to go to Up the Block in a couple days as well. I actually sort of, in the past year, I've been associating these gyms with this sort of sensation or like phenomenon of, bad jet lag sessions. And it's because our home base for the past year has been Germany. And so that's sort of where my body is, conditioned to be feeling at like 100%. Like, of course, the gold standard and the goal is to like be feeling at 100% when you're traveling and doing comps. But honestly, I feel like it's probably like 90 to 95%, just because you know, when you go, even if you go to a comp a week early, your body's not going to be fully like on its like perfect sleep routine and feeling like at its maximum 100% capabilities. And so every time I've been training in the past year at all these gyms near Toronto, it's like been on jet lag, or it's been like out of my rhythm and out of my routine. And I've almost like, my body is sort of like almost very low-key brainwashed to be feeling bad at these gyms, because that's sort of what I've been feeling like in the past year. And so I'm still in that phase, and we're about to be starting to break new ground when we sort of start entering the second week of being here phase, where my body's like in new territory of like, okay, now we're really starting to push past the jet lag and starting to make the North American time zone sort of our comfort zone. And then be feeling like strong in this time region and at these gyms. And you'll notice, okay, check out this try. This was a pretty good ground try on this yellow boulder that we're revisiting from our first day of training at CR. And this boulder is just crazy. It is so hard. These slopers are like such like limit, like just if the wall was just 1 degree more overhang, this boulder would just be like almost impossible. Today I was actually able to put some better ground attempts on. You'll notice like I'm like getting this bean a couple times, and then that last try, that was the last hard move, was like to match the sloper, and then going to the crimp is actually like pretty solid if you're in a balancing position. So this here is actually going to end up being my last try of the day. It's a pretty funny attempt. You'll notice like I was like, the funny thing about this boulder is you actually can't try hard, just because like these moves aren't actually hard. They're almost just like bouncy, and it's just almost down to luck. But I tried to like try really hard on this attempt, and I just like did not want to let go on these two slopers. And then after I was able to control the slopers, I realized, okay, I mean, I don't have any chance of sending this boulder now because like the friction is so bad on these. So I just like kind of whatever, try to jump. But funny thing is, actually at the time that I'm recording this video is a couple days later, and then I had like a social session with my buddy Ben, and we got a send train on that boulder. So it was like the first try of the day too. On this day, I'd like, okay, that was probably going to be my last try of that boulder ever. And so I'd given up on that boulder, but then my buddy Ben and me were having a session at CR, and he said, oh, I want to try that yellow. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'll give it a try. And then I did it like first go. So it's funny how like the friction boulders can just be like so flip-floppy, and it's like, you can not even want to try the boulder, and you just hop on it and send it. And it can feel like chill. And that's what happened. We both like got a send of that, which was pretty cool. So now we are trying this boulder here in the lab, and this boulder is pretty fun. It is a Zach set. On the rest day after the Joe's day, we had a rest day, and Maddie was training at the gym, and while she was training, the setting crew was like doing the lab set, and I was like, hey, let me just, I'll actually just set a boulder for Maddie. She is always trying to work on her paddles. That's like sort of her weakness. And she asked if I could set like just a little paddle to get her paddle skills ready and firing for nationals. And so I went to the lab and I set this boulder, and I was trying to go for a paddle where you go paddle off the slope, and then we're hitting the jug, smearing and catching the right hand as like sort of a compression. But actually what ended up happening is like the foot setup, you'll notice I'm like, it doesn't position my body to actually want to paddle off of this hold. And if you're strong enough, you can actually do what I'm doing here, which is just to stop on this hold. So the paddle didn't actually end up working out, but I think that this move is actually still pretty sick. Having to catch the flat hold like this and sort of cup it on the side. And the IVC mega fans will recognize this move. If you like remember, what was it, 2013, the Rei Sugimoto like longest ever top, like after the 4 minutes plus, that boulder actually had that move where you have to catch that exact hold like that. And so it was actually pretty cool. And then we had a fun sequence at the end, but it was fun to set a boulder again. I think I can probably tweak this boulder up a bit and maybe get Maddie to try the paddle version, but for this variation, the paddle didn't actually work out super well. But yeah, that wrapped up a couple sessions of training, and I think the day after tomorrow we'll probably go to Up the Block, which is one of my favorite gyms in the area, and I think they had a local competition recently, so they should have some comp style boulders up for us to go try. So look forward to that. Insert Kaiji video here.